What is going on, everyone? Unfortunately, the Houston Texans season came to an end last night. They get beat down by the Baltimore Ravens 34-10. That 21 days of rest, it did not affect that defense. And once the Baltimore Ravens offense got going, you just couldn't stop them. 220 plus rushing yards. That's absolutely insane. The Houston Texans defense had no answer. And if I'm going to lose to someone, guys, I would rather lose to the number one team in the AFC and maybe the MVP of this year in Lamar Jackson. The Baltimore Ravens are legit. They are. What's crazy is that the Houston Texans potentially could have been up 13-10 at halftime. What happens if Jalen Petrie catches that interception? But guys, if you are worried about the content going away, not that the season's over, no, it is not. The offseason is where I like to do work. The Houston Texans' future is as bright as it can be. We are going to potentially have $97 million to mess around with in free agency. And then we still have our first, second, and third round pick in this year's draft, guys. We are going to get some weapons on both sides of the ball. But first, let's talk about this game and welcome everyone to the 713 Houston Sportcast. I am your host, Ruben Calvillo. I drop daily Houston Texans content, so make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok for the latest news, rumors, and updates. And if you guys are new here to the channel, I'm trying to hit 10K subscribers by the end of this football season. Please help me get there. And thank you all so much for watching today's episode. Starting with the Houston Texans offense, man, just non-existent, a no-show today. Arguably one of its worst performances all year. What was surprising to me was how dominant this defensive line from Baltimore was against our O-line. Because our O-line had maybe its worst performance all year. And it says CJ Stroud was sacked 0 times, but that's very misleading. Credit to CJ Stroud himself for maneuvering the pocket, knowing when to throw the ball away, because he was under tremendous amount of pressure as soon as the game started, and it was there all 4 quarters. This offensive line, how many pre-snap penalties did they have? How many false starts did Laramie Tunsil, our captain, have? Someone who complains about not making the All-Pro, and you have multiple false starts in these playoffs, and you're a captain? George Fant, 2 false starts. Shaq Mason, a false start. This offensive line, a horrible performance yesterday. I mean, we just saw them shut out the Cleveland Brown and Myles Garrett. Just not a good performance by them. And credit to the Baltimore Ravens crowd for being loud and making it hard for this offense to communicate. But it just looked like our guys weren't ready. And CJ Stroud, as soon as he gets a pass, as soon as he gets a snap, he's running for his life. This offense could not get going. This offensive line could not create lanes for Devin Singletary. Now, he only rushed the ball 9 times for 22 yards, 2.4 yards a carry. His worst performance all year. Nothing was created by this Houston Texan offensive line. Credit to the Baltimore Ravens front 7, man, because they were bringing it the entire game. And it shows. The 10 points came off of a field goal and a 67-yard punt return touchdown by Steven Sims. Go ahead and make a name for yourself, Steven Sims. CJ Stroud, 19 of 33, 175 yards, no tutties, no interception, a quarterback rating of 72.2. One of his worst performances all year. You know, we thought that the magic of CJ Stroud, the legend of CJ Stroud, was going to continue. Could he shock the world once again by walking into Baltimore and beating the Ravens? The answer was no. I just mentioned the rushing attack. It was just non-existent. The receiving attack, Nico Collins, 5 receptions, 68 yards. Really got it going before half, right? Got it into field goal range. Kind of a momentum shift right there. Devin Singletary, 5 receptions, 48 yards. Dalton Schultz, 5 receptions, 43 yards. Other than that, man, Dara Bungawale, 1 catch, 13 yards. Robert Woods, 1 catch, 6 yards. None for Brevin Jordan after a big breakout game last week. Xavier Hutchinson, 2 receptions for -3 yards. And John Mechie didn't even get a target yesterday, man. Very disappointed by John Mechie, by Xavier Hutchinson. We know Nico Collins and Dawson Schultz were going to have to be, one of the leaders in terms of yards, and they were, but someone else had to step up, and they did not. And once again, you got to give credit to the Baltimore Ravens defense. I mean, from top to bottom, they're elite. They're elite. Matabuke, Clowney, Kyle Van Noy, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen. They made it hard for this offense to do anything. Bobby Slowick, not his best day. A triple option and throws it to the screen that almost gets blown up, but if blocked correctly, it would have worked. Choosing when to run Devin Singletary when we knew it wasn't working. Not his best called game. Didn't learn anything from his week 1 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. And this is a guy who is getting a lot of head coaching interviews. I think he has 3 today. So it looked like Bobby Slowick might be gone. With Gerard Johnson, he got a request to interview for an OC job now. I'm not sure where. I think it might be the Saints, but the Houston Texans might have some decisions to make in terms of who's going to be controlling offense next year. Overall, just a horrible performance for the offense. There's nothing else to talk about when you can't even put up a touchdown, and you got to give credit to the Baltimore Ravens defense. Switching to the Houston Texans defense, in the first half, it was solid. You were not shutting down the Baltimore Ravens offense, but containing them. The 21 days of rest, it did affect the offense for about 2.5 quarters, and then they woke up in the second half and just absolutely ran away with it. But the Texans had an opportunity to go up 13-10 at halftime, which is insane when you look at the score. We were able to get to Lamar Jackson 3 times, and I think 2 of those came right before half. Christian Harris has emerged. He has announced himself. This dude is going to be one of the best linebackers in the NFL next year. The story of the day for the Baltimore Ravens offense, 220 plus yards on the ground, 100 from Lamar, 66 from Justice Hill, 40 from Gus Edwards. Even Dalvin Cook got some work in, 23. His longest was 19. They just did everything they wanted to do. And like I said, they are willing to run the ball 30 plus times on you. They did it yesterday for 37. Through the air, Lamar Jackson, 152 yards, not really 9 it up. But like I said, he didn't need to. 2 touchdowns, a quarterback rating of 121.8. This might be the most valuable player in the NFL. Zay Flowers was the leading receiver, 4 catches, 41 yards. Rashard Bateman, 3 catches, 39 yards. Likely 34 yards, but had that tutty. And Aguilar, 2 receptions, 12 yards, a tutty. And you just could not stop the run for anything. Could not stop the run. Will Anderson Jr., Jonathan Grenard, non-factors, right? I guess your only bright spots on defense was Christian Harris, and Kurt Hines got himself some work. Derek Stingley had a really solid day, but like I said, the Baltimore Ravens were not trying to throw the ball. They haven't been trying to throw the ball all year. They know what works for them, and that is being so dominant on the ground game, because it's not just Lamar Jackson, it's Gus Edwards, it's Justice Hill, and now it is Dalvin Cook. The Baltimore Ravens, ladies and gentlemen, might be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl, which is insane. Absolutely insane. Overall, guys, this is the final post-game show of the year. And I just want to thank you all for being a part of me these past couple of weeks, couple of months, the extra playoff games. You guys rock, and I can't wait to do this again next season. The content is not stopping, because we're going to wrap up this year for the Houston Texans. How do we get here? What happened? And then we are going to start talking about the future, because the Houston Texans will have potentially $97 million in free agency, and they still have all 3 of their first round draft. Not 3, but their first round, their second round, their third round. We're going to get some weapons, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going to be real fun for the next coming years. For more Houston Texans content, you guys feel free to follow me for more. Go Texans. Have a very blessed day.